Hi, we're back for a new big introspection question. And today's topic is how can I find a better balance with introspection? As usual, one of us will be the interviewer, the other one will be interviewing. I'll be asking Carlien, and she's been working out some replies to sub questions to this big introspection question, which will help also you to find for yourself a better balance in life. Carlien, thank you for preparing this.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, I'll just dive right in. What does it mean to you to have a balanced life?
First of all, to me, balance, I think it's a very personal thing. So what might feel balanced for one person might not for someone else. And so it's something personal, and to me it feels like a kind of satisfaction that comes from spending time on the right things and with the right people.
Okay.
Doing the right things, basically, with the right people. And that gives me a feeling of balance. I like to compare it to a tightrope walker who is trying to keep his balance, because what might give you balance one time of the year might not give you balance on the other time.
Yeah.
So it's a continuous exercise. So it's not like I put the parameters right and that will keep me balanced for the rest of my life. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work, at least to me, it doesn't work like that. And so it's a continuous exercise of prioritizing and making sure that you spend time on the right things with the right people.
All right. Okay. So, spending time on the right things with the right people is, I guess, something that we all aim to do. But still, we find ourselves being overwhelmed often by life. How do you know if you're on the path to overwhelm, and how does that feel?
I know quite well because in the past year I've reached that point several times. It was also, I think I was not alone. To me, I start feeling overwhelmed, or I know that I'm feeling overwhelmed when I become crankier, when it gets very chaotic in my mind, when I don't manage to keep a routine, when I'm all over the place, I start forgetting things. That's usually a good indicator, and I'm not in a good mood. And consequently, I usually also sleep worse.
Oh, so it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. So you really have to break it.
Okay, all right. So that's the place where we don't want to find ourselves, right? Chaos, losing stuff, being cranky at people.
No, because I think I've never had a burnout.
No.
But I can perfectly imagine that if you continue on that path, you jump right into the burnout.
Yeah.
And I've had several moments in my life where I'm sure if I would have continued even 1 or 2 weeks longer, it would have been a disaster. And so I'm not a burnout expert, but I imagine it's just that. It's just not spending time on things you enjoy doing, or not with the people you enjoy being with. And if you do that too long, it can be, I really believe it can be a matter of days between stopping and making the reflection on, shall I continue this way, or continuing and like really destroying yourself.
So why does that happen then, that people go too far in that? Because you mentioned that you haven't gotten there because you've always stopped, right? So what makes that different for you than for maybe some people who do reach that point of burnout?
I think it has to do with respecting your own borders.
Yeah.
boundaries, sorry. Netherlands, Belgium.
I think it's the same.
Respecting your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And respecting your boundaries, I think it ties back to respecting yourself.
Yeah.
I think there's many people out there, they don't respect themselves enough. And then you also don't take care of yourself. And so I'm from that perspective, I'm rather self-preservative. I would not easily hurt myself. Also on that point, but there's a lot of people who could do that, and so they ignore their own boundaries. They just continue, and then all of a sudden, it's always the body that starts talking. It's the body that refuses to function anymore, and that's where they are forced to stop. But then it's too late. So respecting yourself, I think, is very important.
All right, interesting. I think it could be a whole new topic, by the way, how to respect yourself and set boundaries. So I won't go too deep in that, but I think it's interesting to investigate what you set kind of boundaries around. Like what is that essence of life, or what is essential in your life that you really protect is kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because I think all of our lives are filled with clutter. Especially mine, because I can't say no easily. And to get to the essence, it's essential to take time. Otherwise, you don't know what's the essence. Like we would always think about, that's important, everything is important. And that's so true. Taking time is important to get to the essence. And so what from previous exercises, I went on a retreat not so long ago, also to do that exercise, getting back to the essence. For me, what's essential is in my day-to-day life, having enough social contact, because that's what gives me energy. But at the same time, it's also essential that, for instance, my days, they are not scattered, meaning a meeting there, focus work here, writing there, doing sports here. For me, it doesn't work. I prefer to have a day filled with meetings, an empty day, like monotasking. For me, it's very important, essential. What's also important is that I can keep my morning routine, go either walking to the office or doing sports. And that I spend time with the right people.
And so you found that out by doing introspection?
Yes. Yes.
Could you give an example of how that exercise, or what kind of exercise you do?
Because one of the exercises, and I think it's also one of the exercises in the clarity kit, is the 5 people around you spend most time with exercise. Especially for me, because I see so many people that after a while there's, for me, a huge risk that actually the people I would like to see, I don't see them enough. And so with that exercise, you challenge yourself in, first of all, evaluating who are really the 5 people you spend most time with, and then checking if that's really the people you appreciate most. And if the answer is no, there's a clear action point for you to spend more time with other people and less time with some people you were spending time with today. So that's definitely one of the exercises that helps me in that.
So, and next to then listing maybe the people or the shift in people that you want to make, do you also identify the things that you want to subtract from your life? And what could be examples of that?
Subtracting is very, very difficult
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
because it's almost against my personality. I want everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm very I don't know how to say. But yeah, subtracting for me, it's a very useful exercise though. And for instance, one of the things that lately I realized I have to subtract is the meetings with people who want to get to know me. And that sounds a bit arrogant, but I have a lot of requests from people who have seen what I've been doing, and then they want to get to know me. And that's naturally, I would love to do all those meetings, but it's draining me because it doesn't contribute to actually what I'm doing, and which is bringing clarity to the world. But I find it very difficult because I'm always, from what I said before, I cannot say no. And also, I always think like, yeah, but imagine there is a very interesting person amongst them, and I would have said no, then I wouldn't have met this person. So there's always this fear of missing out, also with regards to meeting new people. But maybe I should follow my intuition, and maybe I can feel more what are the meetings that could be interesting and what are not. But that's definitely something I should cut. Is there something else? Yeah, and then the other, it's a very simple thing, but I should limit the amount of activities. Just simple as that. Not what, but really, for instance, if there's 5 evenings in a working week, usually all 5 are filled with activities. And that gives
impressive.
And that gives a lot of joy, but also a bit of stress. I think I should go from 5 to maybe 2 or 3.
Wow. That's really
But yeah, the thing is, if someone asks me to do something and I have space in my agenda, I would always say yes.
Yeah.
It's very and that's why, for instance, what I really learned to appreciate is when people cancel things.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have. I hate if people cancel things, and sometimes I still do it today. But lately, when people cancel things, I feel like,
okay,
it's a free evening.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess you want to get to the point where you're the one deciding that, and not
exactly
as a consequence of someone else deciding.
Exactly.
But
now I still need the universe to help me.
Yeah. Well, it's there to help you always.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. So, what I found really interesting in what you've said is that balance doesn't only come from the things you do, but also the people you're with. And it seems really like a 50-50 kind of thing for you. So, in terms of like advice to people who are watching, I would say, if I can summarize, look at who is in your life and look at what you're doing in your life, and identify what is really essential about that, what's really essential to you, which can be different for everyone. For you, it might be actually doing lots of things with other people. For others, it might be reading a book, whatever. And then once you've identified that, set clear boundaries around it, and don't let all that other clutter come in the way of what is essential. It's fine that there's clutter, I suppose, sometimes. But not if it's eating into the people that are most important to you and the activities that you really want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
And take enough time to find out what's essential.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all about time. All right. Thanks, Carlien.
You're welcome.